ladies and gentlemen, greetings from your respective positions. Once again, you are welcome here on the platform of Awakening of Consciences. It's making international headlines. It's the top story in international news. The world is talking about it because the world is surprised by this decision that the European Union wants to make just after this big gain that America, this big profit that America has just made in Ukraine. You know that the Americans are very joyful. Donald Trump had a very good night because they hit the jackpot on the Ukraine side. The agreement was signed yesterday. The agreement on rare earth minerals and all the energy infrastructures of Ukraine. Donald Trump has achieved his goal. Europe too, which was eyeing those minerals. France, which was also eyeing those minerals. For the moment, both are coming out as losers. So, this is how the European Union, very angry, turns against Ukraine. And as a result of this contract, Ukraine is making a lot of money. Therefore, the European Union has decided to challenge one of its key decisions that was in favor of Ukraine. Because obviously Ukraine is pitiful. The people and populations are living in an endless conflict. There is nothing to eat. It's a matter of survival on the side of Ukraine. So the European Union had made a very favorable decision and for Ukraine, particularly in the context of Ukrainian grain trade. But it is against this decision, voluntarily made, in the name of humanism and humanitarianism by the European Union. It is against this decision that the European Union itself is now standing up. One just needs to have an intelligent mind to understand that it is because of the resources, the untapped reserves that Ukraine has given to America that Europe is reacting, since each of these entities that were there, stirred around the Ukrainian conflict, each was looking to gain, to profit from the Ukrainian situation, because the Ukrainian soil is extremely rich. The subsoil is extremely rich. So, let's delve into the depths. The European Commission does not plan to extend the so-called commercial visa-free regime for Ukraine. There was a visa-free regime. Without a commercial visa, Ukrainians entered any part of the European territory to sell their grains. We had seen it. It even created troubles between Ukraine and Poland because the Ukrainians, corrupt to the core, with corruption running through their veins, when they entered European territory, instead of selling at least at the same price as others, since they didn't have customs tariffs to pay, no visa, they sold at a very low price, which resulted in unfair competition. The Polish, the farmers, the Polish peasants could no longer sell or move their products. They had risen up against this. They even took the matter to the European Union Commission. But afterwards they said okay, etc. They gave up. Now, it's not just one country in the European Union. It is the European Commission itself, led by Ursula von der Leyen. So, what needs to be said is that this visa-free commercial regime is a system that is applied for a certain renewable period. I believe it is 1 year. For now, it is valid until June 5th. From June 5th, 2025, nothing to report. It will come to an end. Thus, the European Commission does not want to extend it. The European Commission would like it to stop. But the Commission will ensure a smooth transition to a new regime, according to Ursula von der Leyen. Yes. No, not Ursula von der Leyen. It is according to the spokesperson of the European Commission, Olaf Hill. They are going to stop it. They are going to implement. The Europeans will implement a smooth transition so that it does not affect Ukraine, ensuring the transition is not violent or of any disruptive nature. But what has already been said is that there will be a break. And it is the consequences of this break that do not benefit Ukraine. Therefore, the Commission will ensure a smooth transition to a new regime where all the conditions for trade liberalization will be set in the free trade agreement between Ukraine and the European Union. So, there will be a new free trade agreement between the European Union and Ukraine based on trade liberalization. The statement was made by the spokesperson of the European Commission, Olaf Hill. In the meantime, please share this video conference with me. In the meantime, what should be noted is that since the day before yesterday, the United States has signed this historic agreement on minerals. This agreement will allow American investors to access Ukraine's vast untapped mineral reserves. And American investors will create a joint investment fund. So jointly with America, Ukraine will create this fund. And the purpose of this fund will be key to support the reconstruction of Ukraine after the war. When will the war end? But this fund is for rebuilding Ukraine. Does that mean the money, the actual cash, will fall into Ukraine's hands? The Americans will send their companies, their entrepreneurs who will come to work day and night. It's the reconstruction of Ukraine. The agreement was signed by the US Department of the Treasury. This agreement paves the way for long-term cooperation between the two countries on essential minerals, energy infrastructure, and future military assistance. For now, in this agreement, military assistance is not for now. It's for the future. See how clever Donald Trump is? Let's go. Here is what the Ukrainian Minister of Economy, Leila Chervydenko, stated. And today, May 1st, 2025. So, here is the conclusion. Here is the situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back shortly with more news. This was the voice of your one and only Samouraï.